Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to the Reformed Dissenters. Thanks so much for listening to us today. The Reformed Dissenters show is a show where Reformed Christians dissent against popular ideas of culture by asserting a biblical worldview, and we're certainly putting that to the test today. I'm very excited for today. My name is Bruce Johnson. I am joined here in the wonderful state of South Dakota with my good friend Joseph Lassiter.
I'm back. Hello?
Hey, there it is. All right, you added a little bit more to the intro. This is getting interesting now. All right, what's he going to do next week, guys? Stay tuned. We're also joined by my brother, Jacob Johnson, back in Pennsylvania.
Hello.
Hey, gang's all here. Very exciting. Go ahead, Joe. What were you saying?
I was just going to say, how about next Friday? Because Friday is fun day.
Oh, Friday, fun day. Fun day Friday?
Fun day Friday.
All right,
I mean,
we can
it is the Friday
think about
show.
making that a thing or something. I don't know.
We'll
Welcome
do
to
something.
Friday, our Friday show. Very exciting. Don't forget, go to trdshow.net. That's where you can find a list of links to all the platforms that we're on. Also, hey, you like free stuff?
I do.
Yeah? You like free stuff, Joe?
I do.
How about you, Jake? Do you like free stuff? Okay,
No, I like
well,
free stuff.
we have free stuff.
As long as I don't have to pay for it in the long run with taxes.
Right. It's not government free stuff, civil government free stuff. This is real free stuff. Like, hey, like this thing right here, okay? What I'm holding in front of you could be yours for $00.00. Yeah, Jake's got one too. Also, the t-shirts we were wearing on our Wednesday episode, those could be yours for $00.00. Go to trdshow.net/refer. Join our referral program. All we're asking you to do is refer some people to our site. All you got to do is send the link to them, and if they sign up with an account, you get points towards free stuff. Free stuff, okay? Who can say no to that? So, go to
government
TRD.
can.
The government can, because they don't give away free stuff. Civil government does not give away free things. So, send us an email, too, at trdshow@protonmail.com. We want to hear your thoughts, and we want more topics, like the one we're about to discuss today, which is a very exciting topic. But, before we get to that, we have to talk about the verse of the week. And I'm actually going to pass things over to Joe to do that.
All right, guys. Our verse of the week is Proverbs 11, verse 1. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. So we kind of went more into depth on that verse on Monday and on Wednesday. So that was, really good to chat about that and, what that's talking about. But yeah, we were talking about biblical economics on Wednesday, and so this played a very big role in that conversation. Okay, today we are talking about the brand new movie that just came out last week. Now, I don't know if we've got Marvel fans in the audience, but three of us we're pretty huge Marvel fans. Like, we follow a lot of the Marvel lore, a lot of the theory videos. I mean, we're just kind of big into that stuff. Everybody needs a hobby,
Seen just
so don't.
about every single Marvel movie there is out there.
Yes, basically every Marvel
except
movie.
for the older ones. Ever since the first Marvel Avengers came out, the newer one.
Yeah.
We've been watching it all the way up until, and only until Endgame came out did we really get involved in trying to find
not really until
theory
then.
episodes. Yeah.
So we watched the brand new movie Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and we're going to be discussing that today on the show. Came out last Thursday. So I have to give a huge spoiler alert. We are going to be spoiling this movie. If you have not watched it, I'm sorry. That's on you. Don't watch the rest of this episode if you don't want to know what happens. So, Joe, you had something to add.
Spoiler!
There we go. Joe's got his own special flair of spoiler alert. So we are very excited. This movie was on. Okay, if I had to rate this, actually, let's do this. Okay, if I had to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being like super duper woke and 1 being wow, there actually wasn't a ton of stupid woke garbage in this movie. What would you guys rate this movie?
I would say in between Spider-Man No Way Home to Eternals, I think it would have been in the middle because I felt like Eternals was really big pushing the agenda, and I mean there was a couple scenes in Multiverse of Madness. It wasn't.
We're gonna talk about that, yeah.
I mean,
so how would you rate it?
I really think I could rate it as. I can't give a definite answer. It's more of a 3, 4, or 5.
Oh, okay.
I can't, and I have reasons for each of those numbers.
All right, Jake, what are you thinking?
I would have to, again, using Joe's kind of system there between Eternals and Spider-Man No Way Home, I would give it a 4.
I was gonna say
yeah.
4. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're all quite similar.
Pretty similar.
We
I mean,
there.
I thought it was. It could have been way worse.
Oh,
now,
definitely
it wasn't fantastic on the woke scale, but it could have been way, way worse. So
I mean, definitely comparing it to Eternals, it was definitely way better.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Eternals, I
goodness.
definitely did not like because of that whole woke stuff, and it kind of deterred me from even watching it a second time.
Yeah.
You
I haven't
watched
seen
it a second time?
No.
Oh, okay.
I did. Well, no. We were watching it, so we watched it first, and then our dad wanted to watch it, so we were watching it with him. But I was like, I don't care to watch this again.
Yeah.
But so
The story plot might
not
have been
something-
neat. The characters might have been cool. You know, new powers. You know, whatever.
Mhm.
But it was just that was a hard one to watch. Yeah, I will not watch that again.
And only for a character developmental aspect, I would like to see them in other Marvel movies going forward.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than for character development, and I think they have interesting powers as well. I wouldn't really care.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know, let's get into this a little bit. You know, I have a few things that I want to talk about and discuss with you guys, and hopefully in that discussion you guys will bring up your points and we can kind of talk about it that way. But you know, one of the first things that I was asked literally like over 3 times, like I counted at least 3 times throughout this movie, they were like, "Are you happy? Are you happy, Stephen Strange?" Like that was the common, like everybody, there was a dialogue. I think he even asked Wong at some point, "Are you happy,
at the
Wong?
end.
Do you feel happy?" My question to them would be, what is this happiness of which you speak? What is happiness to you? And
What would define true happiness?
exactly.
Yeah.
And why is that your like your key scale for whether you're succeeding in life or not? Like, most important thing to you is happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't contribute this, and now that we're talking about it, I kind of contribute. The happiness question can be traced to the LGBTQ movement.
Ooh, good
because
point.
That's simply what the LGBTQ. Oh, you're not happy being a certain gender? Go ahead and be another gender, and it'll make you feel so much more
Right.
happy. Oh, wait, now, so with that aspect, that means we have to move, or I have to move my number closer to Eternals.
All right.
Shoot.
So now it's a 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
All right.
Sad.
All right. Well, way to be honest there, Joe. You know, that scale is dramatically important.
Yeah.
So, way to be honest. Thank you.
But I
you know,
mean, this
go ahead.
this comes from a very not Renaissance, but
Great Awakening or Second Great Awakening.
right. This is after the Enlightenment. There was an age where we had feelings, right? In the Enlightenment was a age of reason, right? Where we put a lot of our weight from, instead of putting it on God and instead of putting it on the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Instead of putting it on the Bible, we decided to put it in our own humanistic reasoning. But after that, they saw, through that Enlightenment era, they saw a lot of wars had happened, such as or revolutions, such as the French Revolution. And people didn't like it as much. So we go into this next age, which, again, I'm blanking on the name. And if you find it, you can put it in the comments or something. But we move into this age of feelings, right? This age that I can decide for myself what is true or not based on how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, what
And
you're
again,
describing reminds me a lot of the hippie movement too. I mean, you came from an era where there were a lot of wars happening, and you know that was a whole debacle thing. And then they, instead of like going to the Bible and saying, "Well, what is our right response to this?" they instead said, "Let's go get high on as many drugs as we possibly can. Let's do ridiculously evil things and seek happiness just so that we can numb the pain or whatever." Right? So Yeah, you're describing, and it's funny that that's the same sort of deal. We see these cycles throughout history because people like Israel make the same mistakes and don't learn from them. They don't repent and go back to God. They keep making those same mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this age of feelings oriented kind of directly impacts our age today. And there was a different era after that age of feelings that came into being, but it seems like we're going back to that age of feelings, right?
Yeah.
That we judge stuff based on how we feel, and that's kind of like what I found in this movie, that it's a lot of just like, how do you feel about such and such? How do you feel about life?
Yeah.
Is life happy for you?
Yeah.
And again, that goes back to, okay, what are you judging as happiness?
Yeah.
And why does, from an atheistic perspective, why does happiness matter?
Good point. Yeah. Well, I mean, like Joe was saying earlier this week about this earth literally being the best place. The Bible says they have their reward, right?
Yeah.
Those who are going to end up in hell, what they have right now, this is the best they're ever going to have, the best it's ever going to get. So they know that. They have a fire expectation of hell. And so because of that, they seek to do whatever it takes to make them happy, even though we know that true happiness only comes from God. So they're still going to have that God-shaped hole in their heart, right? But they're going to try and fill it with things that we know as Christians, because we have wisdom from the Word of God, that those things will not fill that hole. But they foolishly, acting as a fool, a biblical fool, try to fill that hole with things that are not God. and it inevitably makes it worse.
And that moves into the point that we wanted to talk about with this whole movie, in talking about Wanda in wanting children.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
This is, she thinks that children are going to make her happy, which it ultimately is a biblical understanding, as long as it's understood from a biblical
if done the right way. Yeah.
Right. But really, you want to believe that this theme of the movie is, it seems to be whatever a mother would do for her children, right? She wants her children back, so she's going to get a hold of the Darkhold to do all these things in order to get her children back. Yeah. But really, if you think about it, this is her just being selfish. This is her sinful perspective being put on it, right? Because she doesn't want her children, or she wants her children, but she can't have her children.
Right.
So instead, she's going to take another Wanda's children.
Yep.
Right? And I think there is a distinction between, again, in the multiverse, these children in a different version of Earth, right, in a different multiverse, are not her children.
Yep.
These aren't. They're not. Her children are not there. They're not in...
They don't exist.
Her...
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And, I think... Oh, go ahead, Joe.
With that point being made, I wanted to draw out the fact that the kids knew that it wasn't the... which mom or which Wanda was their mom. The Wanda from the original multiverse went to the original
other one.
went to the other verse, and it was saying, y'all are okay, y'all are safe with me. But those kids were like, no, you aren't our mom. We want our mom.
Yeah. And you know, one thing that I wanted to draw, that I drew from this, that I was like, whoa, did you guys catch this? Like, how did the writers miss this? And honestly, it's not something that they can avoid, because God has put it in mothers, in women, to desire children and to do what God has created them to do, which is to love and to nurture and to instruct and to imbue wisdom into children. And that's just a natural, innate desire. And our culture right now wants to rip that from women. It wants to make women like men and force them to go and get a career and do what is against their nature, instead of doing what God has created them to do, which is to nurture and to do a job that a man really can't do, which is to nurture children in that motherly way, right? Go ahead.
with that bringing that the something that I really drew from the movie is how women rule, especially when they're in power. They rule on their emotions or feelings. They want to.
Yes.
They're
Yeah.
emotional. They're not logical. Oh, I
Generally
feel like
speaking, yeah.
I feel like me going to another multiverse or going to another world
Universe.
and pulling my so-called children from a different mother. If I steal them, I think I will be will feel more happier. And it's just a fact that women rule mainly on feelings because of, I think it's the emotionals that God has given to women, but yet men
for that
more
nurturing ability to be able to nurture children. Yeah, in a unique way.
Interesting enough, Wong even brought that up. He's like, how is that other Wanda gonna feel? It's gonna create this vicious cycle of you take these children, but then that one is gonna want her children, so then she takes another children, who then takes another children, and then it becomes such a vicious cycle. And Wong was even bringing that up.
Yep.
So.
Well, let me kind of turn the conversation in a different direction.
Ooh, yay.
I think we've explored some really interesting perspectives, really good discussion, but I kind of want to discuss a little bit of what I took to be the main theme, the main undercurrent. And this is because it didn't just apply to Wanda, it applied to Doctor Strange as well, and pretty much anybody who used the Darkhold, right? The main theme that I drew from it was that temptation seems powerful and enticing on the surface and looks like it gives you a way to solve some of your problems, ends up corrupting you and taking you down a dark path you didn't expect, right? So this was, like, I thought, a brilliant illustration of sin, like a very real, very visible illustration of sin. It's extremely tempting. It seems like it's going to give you all this power, all this freedom. Oh, great, I can do stuff that I've always wanted to do innately, but that I've been chained and not allowed to do because of God's law, right? From a twisted, perverted sense, that's how sinners look at themselves and their relationship to God, right? God wants to keep me in chain, give me these laws, and I don't want to do this, right? My sinful heart wants to do these other things. So it seems like freedom, it seems like power, it seems like great, we can do these great things. Then you do it, and the unforeseen problems that come from that and consequences that you will have to endure for years that you never saw coming. I mean, the level of corruption, I mean, if you've watched the movie, the level of corruption that all of the Doctor Stranges had to undergo. I mean, even at the end, our Doctor Strange grew a third eye. Like one of those things that was just like a very visible thing. It was just, I thought, a really good illustration of this is what sin does to you. And it was great because we got to see that we got to see their perspective, because it looked like it saved the day, right? It looks like, oh, it'll be really helpful. It gives you a lot of power. But the consequences, I mean, literally, from the Illuminati dimension where the Illuminati was, they had to literally kill that Doctor Strange because he was so corrupted by the Darkhold. And yes, he used that power for good, sort of ish, if you will, right? He did use it too. No, he didn't use that. He used the book of what was the other one?
Vishanti.
Essentially the good book, right? Did you guys pick up on that as well? There was a good book and a bad book. I thought that was interesting. But he had to use the good book to end Thanos on his dimension because the bad book didn't give him the power to do that, right? Because it really, at the end of the day, gives you some power, but the book that didn't corrupt you actually gave you more power. But they had to literally kill, destroy that Doctor Strange because of how corrupted and untrustworthy he was because of his use of the Darkhold. Go ahead, Joe.
I just got to thinking that you can change that, take that principle and put it to our government. Our government thinks, giving money to those who need it, especially with COVID, the COVID bonus checks or whatever. Oh, let's just give more money because it's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's not really a good thing to do.
Yep. Yeah. Good tie-in. Good point. Anything you guys wanted to comment on with kind of what I brought up as the main theme and the temptation and the Darkhold and all that before we move on to my last category, which is the problems?
I got something.
Go ahead.
Can Disney and Hollywood and all these other filmmakers make any other story other than the fact that you have good, you have evil, and it just displays the Bible more and more every time I watch another movie?
Yeah.
with that lens. It's
Yep.
like you have good, you have bad, and then you have sin. Well, okay.
That's bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
anyway.
get you. Yeah.
But every movie is either it's a redemptive movie or it's a fall into sin movie, and here's your consequences and your curses. It really displays the Bible very much. And what's funny is unbelievers can't see that. They can be like, but why is there, this looks like a good power, but then it ends up in the bad. They don't understand. They don't see that reasoning.
And that goes back to the Romans passage, for they know the truth, yet they suppress the truth in unrighteousness.
Yeah.
Right? And you see these small little aspects of actual truth coming through. And again, another piece of truth that I wanted to bring out was, it's interesting, right? Our culture wants to get rid of this family dynamic. However, Marvel or Disney is pushing this family dynamic even more.
Right.
Because if you think about it, right, you've got the family dynamic in Wanda wanting to be the mother and having children, and then Vision is the father. You have a father, mother, children.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have a... And this moves into your problems, Bruce.
Yeah.
You don't have a mother and a mother. You
Yeah.
don't have a father and a father, right?
Although they
Yep.
did
You have
show
a mother
that.
and a father.
Although
Good
they
point.
did show
Well, and that takes me into my problems list. So
mother to, was it America?
yeah,
What's her
so
name?
that's top of my problems list is obviously anyone who's seen the movie, that's going to be probably top of your problems list, as well as the two moms scene, right?
Anyone who's a Christian, you should rephrase that.
Which is physically impossible, right? I don't care what dimension you're from.
Unless you adopt.
You do not have two mothers. You do not have a family if there are two mothers and if it's not one man and one woman, you do not have a family, unless obviously there's extenuating circumstances with single parents where there was a divorce, where there was a breakdown, right? But that's a broken family unit that should seek restoration, right? It's not a complete family unit. And if from the outset you don't have one man and one woman, from the outset you have two women or two men or whatever ridiculous combination you want to have, then that's not a family either. So obviously, yeah, that was a problem. The second thing that I have on my list is the pride pin. I swear, every time America Chavez, that whole character revolved around that whole character was just my whole problems list are three things from this one character.
I have to say, it was every time I noticed. After the first time I noticed it, and I think you didn't notice it until I.
Well, I saw it I knew it was because I saw the trailers, so I knew it was there. But
every time I saw that pin, I'm like, "Hey, Bruce, did you see the pin?" I was looking for it to be gone.
Yep.
Honestly, I was looking for it to be gone.
Yep. And it's the disgusting part is they've taken a sacred symbol from God, a symbol of a covenant that God has made with His people. And they've twisted and perverted it to mean something that God calls an abomination, a disgusting, despicable thing.
Can I give kudos real quick to Disney? Because for the simple fact that...
No, you can't give kudos to Disney. I'm sorry, but...
Fine.
Not on my show. No.
But
not on this show,
the final scene with her, she didn't have the pin. I mean, granted, they were wearing
Wait,
the
really?
robe. Yeah,
Oh,
she
the
did.
robe.
Yeah, she was in the robe.
Oh,
she didn't wear it. So I'm like,
that's
yay!
a good point.
They didn't have it.
I didn't even think of that. Wow,
Yeah.
the end of her story arc, she actually got rid of a disgusting thing.
Now,
How about that?
On purpose or because of uniform, we don't know.
Right.
But I'm going to give kudos because it wasn't there. I'm just going to be happy.
Assume that for one split second they weren't a demonically possessed corporation that developed this film. Okay, yeah.
Hey,
sure.
they did show Wanda when she didn't have her man that she crumbled on her own too.
Dang, I didn't even think of that. That's
a woman can't lead on her own, according to that.
Ooh.
Sorry,
laying down some man.
Misogynistic there, Joe.
Ooh. Well, that went to a fun place. Okay.
Because imagine if she would have still had a vision, it wouldn't have taken. You wouldn't have this story. Really, honestly, if we really would have had vision still, and she would have still had her family.
Well, yeah. The
this entire story.
The West Point. Wait, West. What was it called? Westview.
Westview.
Westview didn't happen until Vision died,
Mm-hmm.
and then she went into an emotional spiral and ended
Yeah.
up like magically creating something she had no idea she could do because of her emotions. Yeah.
I'm sorry if I offended anyone.
Joe, we just lost half our listeners. It's okay. It was the bad half, so no, I'm kidding.
Hey, wait. Remember, there's only two
the half we
genders.
didn't care, you know.
The
All right.
the last two problems I do want to talk about a little
Yes.
bit more, and we only have 5 minutes.
Yeah. So okay. So the oh right, dude.
Okay,
All right.
let's go.
These two. Here we go. Okay. Okay. So my second to last point is the way for Chavez to master her powers was to believe in herself. She couldn't master her powers until. You need confidence in yourself. You are enough. You can master it without any outside help. You don't need me. You don't need anyone. It's been in you the entire time. That whole baloney. Go ahead, Jake. You want to take it away?
which is entirely antithetical to biblical principles.
Yep.
Which is claiming that you can do something.
You are
that
sufficient.
is good on your own.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And again, did they run out of story points? Because this is such a cliche, stupid, just
yeah.
basic thing you could ever talk about.
It's not a Disney movie unless you give yourself unlimited amounts of power and say that you're the answer to all of life's problems. Don't look for true wisdom anywhere but your own wickedly twisted heart. That's the only place you can find true wisdom. It wouldn't be a Disney movie otherwise.
Granted, I mean,
and this goes back, to, and I just remembered the word, to this romanticism culture.
Mm.
And again, you're basing everything on feelings.
Yep.
You have to believe that your heart is right.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
I mean,
Go ahead, Joe.
You're right there. It wouldn't be a Disney movie without the feeling in yourself because a lot of the Disney movies are that way.
Yeah.
Especially all the way back to, I think it's Snow White.
Yep.
I think you can pull from it, but especially within Enchanted moving on, you can definitely see it.
Yeah. All right, my last point. And I'm so sorry to anyone who is listening this far. And you're like, oh, good. I still don't know everything. Buckle up. Okay, Captain Carter is a thing.
Yep.
And I hated it. It was the most feminist. Mm-hmm. That whole fight scene with the Illuminati. Okay, first of all, who were the first two people to die? Anyone?
The men.
The two dudes. The men.
Yep.
Were the first two people to die in that battle. Okay, in stupid ways. Right? Very
to
stupid.
To be honest, one could make the argument that Mordor is still alive. and
he wasn't in that battle.
Charles Xavier was the last to die.
Yes, that's true. He was the last to die. I'm talking about that specific battle. Okay, there were three females,
fight scene.
Two males. Okay, the two females were the. Captain Carter had no powers. First of all, right? She's clearly just a ripoff of Captain America because they needed a female version and they wanted to spout something that wasn't American because they don't like American values, although nowadays there are no American values anymore. American values means nothing. It just means communism in a different way. But in that time period when these comics were written, American values used to mean something different, which is why Captain America was such a big deal. But so they needed a woman. They couldn't have a man anymore. And they needed a different country. And so they picked communist England. So
well, they didn't really pick communist England because of that. It was where Captain Carter originally came from. So
I'm talking about the people that wrote the story. They can write it any way they want. I'm talking about the motivations behind the people that wrote the story, right? Oh, and I'm surmising here, obviously. I don't know what their original intentions were. But this is what I'm drawing from it, is that the point could easily be made that they did this because they didn't want... The American spirit was too strong. We know that they hate that. We know that they hate the American traditional Judeo-Christian values. They hate all of that. So they created an image that completely destroyed all of that. She was one of the last people to die in that battle. And then also the most powerful person, I think we can all draw assumptions from... Who didn't.
Isn't it also interesting that the other female character,
Captain Marvel,
in the original 616 multiverse, it was just a woman. Now they made it a woman, black person, a black woman.
Yep.
So they had to. They obviously they did that for other reasons.
Oh yeah, they needed bonus
Right.
points. Yep.
Yeah.
So they got their token people, token genders, token skin colors, all of it in there. So
Not
all right, we got about 1 minute left.
Not
Final
to
remarks.
Not to mention, but if I'm not mistaken, in the original comics, Captain Marvel was a man.
Yeah.
If
Yep.
I'm not mistaken,
I believe
even
so.
though I'm finding a lot
Yeah.
on.
Miss Marvel is the woman.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel is the man.
Yep.
And Captain
Yep.
Marvel looks a lot like Shazam.
It's true, actually. That's funny. Cool. Well, anything you guys want to say in closing, just to wrap it up? All right.
No.
Even
All in all-
even Marvel,
Go ahead.
even Marvel and Disney know the truth, yet they still suppress it in
Yeah.
unrighteousness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's telling that their wokest movies are the ones that tanked the worst. I mean, look at Eternals. Look
Yeah.
at the box office scores. Look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores. Look at just how badly that movie was. And that was their wokest movie. I mean, it was miserable. And I hope they get the message. They won't, because they're not doing it for money. They're doing it for their religion, right?
Yeah.
It's more than that now for them. Years ago, it might have been about the money. Now it's about their religion, but their demonic religion. But it is interesting. It's telling that their last movie, the last movie they produced, which, well, no, I'm sorry, Eternals. They did Spider-Man after that. The Eternals movie was super woke. Then Spider-Man and this one was like, oh, they've pulled back from that a little bit. Interesting. Like maybe they finally got the message. Probably not. Our churches needs to start preaching on it, and that's when the society will finally get the message. But anyway,
you kind of see it with this one, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. They're not fully going into it yet. They're still like pushing it a little bit.
Yeah. poking the
There's
bee's
certainly
nest.
more of wokeism in it than there was in No Way Home.
Ugh. Yeah.
I will share with you some sad news.
Uh-oh.
Kind of. Apparently, opening night, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness was able to make $1.5 million, which is $185 million. Sorry, and which is $100 million higher than the first Doctor Strange. So obviously, it's doing better than the first Doctor Strange.
Okay.
That's not entirely
I don't know that
terrible,
that's sad. Like, I would have been sad
Well-
if you told me Eternals got that much and it got more than all the rest of the movies.
That's
but
fair. But, I mean, still counting the wokeism and
Yeah, I
everything
get
in
you.
there
I get you.
versus the Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
I
Fair
just
point.
really hope Avatar 2 knocks both of those off the top.
Oh my goodness.
No. All right, we'll have to review that one because I do not. I hated the first movie for environmentalist religion
is that-
reasons. It
is
was a
that what-
super environmental garbage movie. I hated it. Barely got through it. In fact, I don't think I ever finished it. It was that bad.
Okay, I take back my...
And that I don't think the second one's going to be any better. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. This was a really fun discussion. If you enjoyed it, send us an email at trdshow@protonmail.com. We'd really love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this movie? If you have things that you'd like to share with us that we didn't talk about, we want to hear it. So send us an email, trdshow@protonmail.com. Also, go to our website, trdshow.net/refer. If you like free stuff, like actually free stuff, go and do that. trdshow.net/refer. You can get a free mug, free t-shirt, free stickers, all sorts of cool stuff. Sign up for an account today on our website, and we will see you Monday, I guess. And remember, everyone, in all that you do, do as unto the Lord.